Okay, Tristan, here you go. Let's get right down to it. Some good things here I want to show you. I know you're wearing the same clothes here, but one video is from like January 28th and the other one's or 24th or something. The other one's from just last week. But look at the differences here, and I want to show you what the difference is when you shift your weight earlier, how things change a little bit, and when you don't. But actually, it's kind of interesting because both videos I'm going to show you the advantages of shifting earlier, but then the disadvantages of what happens when the trunk gets out and you lean too much. And then the advantages of not doing that with the trunk, but the disadvantages of not, getting out early. So in the old video here on the left from January 24th or so, you open up the front foot right away. You become uncoiled right away. But what you do well here, and I think this is why you open the front foot, is because you focus more on getting out earlier. So as your knee is dropping, you start to move out right there a little bit sooner than you do in this video where you drop more and then you drive out. So you get a little bit more flexation here in the back video. And what happens with that is you don't get the lower center of gravity as you do here. So as you get out here, you do uncoil a little too soon. You open up a little early and your heel is off the rubber, which is, not a great thing. But you do get that nice long stride because you had that early momentum. So you do get a good drive right here into landing, which lowers your center of gravity more than it does in the video up from last week. So if I were to draw that line there, you're at 65 degrees. Let's pull you out here when you land, and let's do the same thing. Let's get this out of the way. We go up, and we touch your hip there. You see how you're 59 degrees? So this measurement here inside should be bigger as it is in this video because you've gotten lower. And that's what happens when you move out. But the disadvantage in this video over to the left is that when you get out there, take a look at what happens to your trunk. You see where your head is? Your head's leaning, the trunk is tilting. So watch your front hip. It never really gets to brace up because there's too much weight going forward on that hip because you didn't lead with your hip long enough. You kind of got the chest out in front. So it's harder to brace up. It takes you longer to brace up. It takes the front hip longer to stop moving. So the body's just going to tilt, and it's not going to move by the reaction of the forces coming from the lower body. It's just going to move forward without really reacting from the power of the legs. All right, so what happens here is that you get out, the head leads, the trunk is leaning, boom, right there. Now take a look at the difference here. Look at how straight up and down you are here. Look at where your chin is as compared to this video here. Look at the difference. I mean, even if I were to move this back just a little bit, there really is a significant difference. This should be back a little bit more too. I mean, you can definitely see the trunk tilt, okay? And you can definitely see that there's much more early rotation here in this video too because of that trunk tilt. So you get braced up right about there. Look at where your elbow is. You get braced up here right about there, and there's where your elbow is. So you can see the front side of your shirt a lot better. This part of you can see that I'm losing most of your shirt here, so you're much more squared off, and you're much better braced up. Now let's take a look at the angle. About 63. This angle about 73. So what a big difference, right? Now with that power coming from the leg here bracing up good, you're going to get the reaction. Watch how your hip stops. See how your hip stops? That's a big, big improvement. Watch how your hip stops, and now boom, you rotate right over that hip. The arm lays back sooner. Look at where your arm is here. It lays back way behind your ear. Over here, it lays back right at your ear. and then it gets out in front here because it laid back later. So now you have a little bit more of a cast where the elbow's out in front, and over here your elbow does not cast. It rotates perfectly. Here's where your rotation, internal rotation starts. Boom, right at your face, and then out in front. Look at how much further out the elbow gets in this video here. All due to too much trunk lean. So continue working on keeping the trunk straight by keeping that chin tucked and allowing the lower body to drive out. So when you land that front foot, boom, look at where your trunk is in comparison to here. Watch this. Look at that lean. That's a big difference. And that's where you brace up. And that's where you brace up. Okay? So those are the advantages. The advantages of keeping the trunk and leading with the hip, and while keeping the trunk more vertical and keeping that chin tucked. The advantages are you don't have all that weight landing on the front leg as you do here because you're tilted. So it's easier to brace up. It's easier to brace up that hip and power that. Look at that power. That's great rotation there with the hips moving, and it's slinging the arm back into external rotation sooner. The chest is thrusted out in front of the arm. So the chest is out, the arm is trailing behind the chest, and then boom, catapults over. Well done. So let's take a look here at your follow through there, ball release. Let's take a look at your angle. Now your angle may be a little bit higher than the other one because you just didn't get that momentum. And again, like in this video here on the left, because you had that early momentum, you have a lower center of gravity. But you need to be able to get that lower center of gravity while keeping the trunk vertical so that your front leg can brace up better and then just fire over that leg. Let's see what the angle is here. Get you down into external rotation, ball release. And you're about, let's get you down to your chin. That's about the same. I think your chin would be about there. Yeah, I think your chin would be about there. I can't see it because your arm's in the way. But you are lower in the left video, in the older video. But you're still throwing better in the right video. The only advantage you had in that previous video is, like I said, you moved out just a little bit earlier, so you lowered the center of gravity. But it doesn't matter if you don't keep the trunk tall. So in the right video, the one we did last week is a much, much better pitch because your body is up, your arm is back, you've got some good hip and shoulder separation starting here. I don't think you get that as much in this video because the trunk lean, yeah, you don't get it. See that? Your elbow and your hip are kind of in the same place. Now, one thing you want to work on to really improve this even more is we've got to get that front foot down because when the front foot gets down earlier, it's going to brace up that front hip earlier. So watch, if I get you down here at touching the heel, let's get you down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5/100ths of a second. Let's see if we can get that down in half of that time. Let's see if we can get it down in 2.5/100ths of a second. Because when we get that foot down quicker, we're going to brace up this front hip quicker, which is going to power that back hip open even more and will give you more separation. So what you're doing with your arm right now is great. Everything is, the timing of the arm looks pretty good. I think we can get that arm up a little bit later. We haven't touched that yet because we don't really want that elbow to get up higher than that. And it's an easy fix. But what's going to really get that, you do a good job pushing off and getting some great hip mobility there. See how your hip is moving out right there and the arm is popping up? That's excellent timing. Boom, hip is moving out, arm is popping up, getting good separation. But right about here, if we can get that front foot down there, that's going to slam this hip open even more, and it's going to separate our shoulder. And we're going to get even more power, more torque. Oh, this stupid machine. We're going to get even more power and torque from that Boom. And then when we get that, the chest is going to sling forward even faster, and that chest is going to be somewhere out here, or maybe even out here. And you're going to see some real increase in velocity. All right? But good job. That's a big difference. I mean, that's just a 2-week difference right there. And that we only worked on that for 1 day. So continue to work on keeping that chin tucked. Continue to work on driving out sooner. All right? Oh, got a phone call going here. All right. I'll see you soon.